Hello everyone, this is Diane. Yesterday I showed some collage images, some collage pages as I worked on some little collages. And some of you were very interested in seeing my glue book that I mentioned, and also there were questions about what's the difference between a glue book and a collage book. So I'm going to give you my interpretation of a collage book and a glue book. These are my various collage books and images. This is the one that you saw yesterday that is just in this small composition book, which is 5 by 7. It's just a little composition book. And this is a collage book because I arrange all the pieces into, hopefully, an attractive arrangement. That's what I think of as collage. Sometimes it tells a story. Sometimes, like in the case of this, most of the time it's just, these are the elements that I'm supposed to use because of the challenge. And my challenge is to just make it look attractive and cohesive. This one kind of has a story because it has the castle, the heraldry, and this ornate frame around it. So it kind of all goes together that way. In this one, I had to use an herb and something that starts with G. So I made the giraffe look like he's eating the rosemary, and the monkey and the parrots kind of go with the giraffe for the jungle. But other times there's really no story. A monkey in a cathedral. That's a funny story if it's a story. But in this one, I pulled all the elements together and I used a house and then the children taking their milk from the milkman, and then we had to use some writing or some kind of a list or something. I don't remember, but I just wrote a little shopping list on here which included milk. So I kind of tried to tell a little bit of a story, but a collage to me is just something that you try to make look nice. In this little tiny book that I use, which is 5.5 by 3.5, this is totally inspired by Diane Fago or Pack or Die on YouTube. In this one, I use a phrase or a quote on every page, and it's kind of telling my story, and things that I need to just, they're for me. If I look at the page, I know what I'm talking about. When you look at the page, you might have a different interpretation of it. So I use an image. Most of the time it includes a person, a background, and a quote. And then I use my white pen and sometimes my black, oh, I forgot what it's called, but I outline her and then I use a wet brush to kind of spread the black out. Anyway, and in this book I like this one. You just can't do all that you intend. In this book I'm working back and front together to just kind of make the book even and not get lopsided as it fills up. And then these little pieces are waiting for me. I've already selected quotes and pictures to go with them, so I just have to put them in. But the last time I worked in this was a year ago. August 30th was the last date that I did, so I need to get busy on this one too because I really enjoy it and I like looking through it. So that's also a collage book. This is just kind of a collage book, but this is tending more to a glue book, I think. Jill Robertson made me this little booklet out of envelopes, and it opens kind of every which way. I don't know how she did it, but so I've just started gluing stuff in there. Actually, I haven't worked in it in a while also, but I'm not really creating designed things. I'm just kind of sticking things in. For the most part, I have finished each page as I went, but not always. And I got a couple more images that I want to stick in here. This is also made for me by Jill. And this is where I started my glue book challenge. So this was our first challenge. So this is also a collage book. There's a page in here that this one, I just like this page. I used an orangutan with his hands up asking for directions. And so there's this police officer. This is from a Trader Joe's coffee package. And he's got luggage beside him. He's got an arrow here pointing him in the right direction. Well, they're kind of pointing in different directions. No wonder he's confused. And then this is a clothing tag that says St. John's Bay, so maybe that's where he's trying to get. And there's a map. So there was kind of a story on this one. This was really fun to work in. And here is my collage book. I'm not using any challenges for this one. This is just made from an old Spanish book. And I am using a lot of my Spiegel ladies from my 1951 Spiegel book. I think it was 1951. It's from the early 50s anyway. And I'm just trying to make a nice looking vintage collages. So not too much of a story here. Just nice arrangements and trying to make the colors look nice together. This one has a label of the packaging from Vintage Bias Tape, and I did some stamping on the background of this. So the pages in this one aren't just plain lined paper or plain paper. They're all different kinds of papers like I use in a junk journal. So this is the background paper, and that I left that there, and then used some kittens from Vintage gift wrap. This kind of all went together. This is a boy from the Spiegel book, and I had this red rooster cut out from something, and this little vintage snap card with the boy whistling, and then this quote from a children's book. "This big red rooster will get you up in the morning," said Billy. Again, some images that I need to put down. Some of these were from the challenge because I had finished this book and hadn't yet decided to go to the index cards. So some of these are challenges. This one is. This one was. So I think that's all I've done in this book. But I really want to do some more. I love my vintage Spiegel ladies. I think that's what I have for collages. Now, glue books. These are my, actually tangled, these are my two glue books. I made them both at the same time. They're both made with National Geographic books. I'm showing you the spines. I want you to see they're both the same size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 signatures, and I put charms on them. I was trying to use up a lot of my junk mail and junky junk stuff that I saved for junk journals because we were moving. So I made these 3 years ago because we were in the process of packing up and getting ready to move to this house 3 years ago. So this is what I made, and here's the spine, but now look at the difference. This one has not been used yet. You can see it almost meets here. So there's a lot of room for filling this up. This is the one that I've been using, and this is pretty full. So I have shown some of this before in videos, but I've done a lot in it since the last time I showed it. So it's a big book. So I'll try not to take too much time with it. For the signatures, I used gift bags or shopping bag. Gift bags or shopping bags for the front of each signature. And this one is a Hallmark bag. And I created it in July of 2015. So in a glue book, I just have a bunch of images that I want to put in a glue book. I want to save them just because I like them, and looking at them pleases me. So there is really no story to tell. I just glue stuff in. And I always thought, when I first heard of glue books, I thought that's a waste of time. But then when I started trying it, I thought, this is really therapeutic and fun. You just glue stuff in without thinking. I do try to make things look nice because that's the way I am. I'm a creative person and I like things to be pleasing to the eye. So I do try for that, and it makes me happy to be able to do that. But you don't have to. You can just glue stuff in. So I glued a couple things on this page, and so what I do is I have a pile of stuff and I look for a page that I want to put it on. I want to put that right here. So then the next thing might go on the same page, or it might go on a different page. So usually a page isn't finished the first time you glue something in. You just come back to it and glue some more. So this is not done yet, even though it's pretty full. I'm just going to flip through so you can see. And I do have a few enclosures, and I did do a little bit of writing in it, but I don't usually write in it. This is a statue, and I cut her out and made her sit in that chair. I placed furniture on this page because we had purchased some furniture for our new house. And there are some things that are tucked in that I can also glue stuff to. And when I made the book, I used stamps that I don't use very often. And sometimes they get to stay, and sometimes they get covered up. And I don't worry about covering them up. They were just there to decorate the book until I glue on that page. This one you can see the bear playing the piano a little bit there, but he's mostly covered. I thought this was cute, this little girl. And then there was a little, it's from a vintage magazine. It says, "This girl needs her beauty sleep." Since I have big issues with sleeping, I thought that was a great thing to put in there for me. This one was a very gradual process. The man back here, the painting, was the original page. And then I added one piece and then another piece. So it was very gradually being built up. I think this page is done now, but it's got a lot of layers on it. This is an envelope from an old National Geographic for ordering your subscription. So there's a lot of pieces from vintage magazines. There's a lot of pieces from new magazines. I just liked the way that hair looked in that magazine image, so I cut it out and glued it on. I liked the way those planets looked, so I glued them on. And of course, I like the colors and the swirls of the lollipop. And everything on this page is fabulous. Sometimes I just have a pile of images on my desk and I don't want to put it away. I don't want to find places for it. So I just get out my glue book and go through it and stick everything down in my glue book. This is really fun, and I haven't gotten it down in a long time. But it's really fun to just take it down and look at it, even if I'm not gluing in it. On this page, there's an elephant from National Geographic. And on this page, there's great big butterfly wings. And I kind of made these two pages go together. These images here of the children were all from one magazine ad, and I just cut them apart. And this little booklet I made to go inside this envelope. So it's pretty much, this booklet might be done. But then again, I might put some more stuff in there. And I glued her on so that you can see her through the window of the envelope. I like shoes. I have trouble with my feet, so I can't wear the pretty high heels anymore, but I love high heel shoes. So I just glued them in there. I can't wear them, but I can look at them. This is from a greeting card. Those are plain. I haven't done anything to them yet. Some of the cosmetics ads just have very nice graphics. They're just visually pleasing, and this is just lipsticks in the form of a heart. This is from Trader Joe flyer. Some cigarette cards that Leanda sent me. This, I didn't glue anything down yet. It's got a lot of lines. I could write on it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. These are just magazine images, and I just really like them. They were just very pleasing to my eye. Here's a piece that I had stamped. This was probably an example of stuff that was laying on my desk that I wanted to get put away. Here's a picture, a Whistler painting called Symphony in White #2. So I created my own Symphony in White with all of these images. I thought that was really fun. Got room to do stuff on that. So here we're getting to the part where there's less stuff glued on. I put this in here. It was Holtz Tickets. So I just took the flaps and glued images on from Graphic 45, and this one's not Graphic 45, but most of them are. And they're gradually bigger images as you go. I thought that was fun. I love this lady from an old 1940s magazine. And some old flowers from a magazine too back there. There's a book dust jacket. So hopefully you get the idea. This is my interpretation of glue books and collage books. I put this footstool next to this fancy bureau and had her sitting on it with her feet on the footstool, and then there's a chipboard piece that says all dressed up. There's a watermelon label. I could have used that in my collages. Couldn't find the watermelon label I wanted yesterday. So as you see, I've got lots of room yet to work in the back. I don't know if I'll cover that jar up. I just love that jar of chocolate chips. Go ahead, be fabulous. So as you can see, I used all kinds of book pages and all kinds of things to bind into the book to make the journal. This is a little rubber stamp I have of this adorable little dragon. He's called a pocket dragon. I love him. There's another Trader Joe's image, and I made it look like he's trying to give her some green medicine or something. And there we have it. I don't know if this elastic is going to hold after I get the whole thing filled. Here's the empty one. I was thinking about putting this one up for sale since I've made it 3 years ago and haven't even gotten to use it yet. But it's got an H on the front. But I used pages from, they're heavy pages from a huge Norman Rockwell coffee table book that I had. So this doesn't have anything done to it. I'll just start flipping through some of the pages. I won't go through the whole thing. Just so you can kind of see what the pages look like before I started gluing. So I can use the images themselves and glue around them like I did with that man in the painting. And or I can just cover up completely whatever is there. So I hope this answers any questions you may have had, and I know some of you were just curious about what I put in my glue book, so you got to take a look at that. This is actually a VHS tape case from You've Got Mail. This was something, where'd it go? I lost it. Oh, there it is. This, I don't even know what this came off. It was packaging for something with that hole in it, so I put it so that you could see her face through the hole. Envelopes. Map from Reader's Digest, National Geographic. All kinds of stuff. They're really fun to make. I had so much fun making these. I didn't want to quit. That's why I ended up with actually 12 signatures, because I made 6 signatures for 2 different books. And then once you get them made, they're really fun to fill up. But you don't have to make your own. You can use magazines. I've seen videos where people just take a magazine and kind of tape up the spine and reinforce it, and then just use that as their glue book. Just glue over the images of the magazine. You can just use a composition book. Whatever size you want. You can use a book. Just anything you want to start gluing stuff down in. And it's fun and relaxing, and I hope you give it a try. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.